Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today we are covering Aliens. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. We had to, guys. So for tea, I am drinking the Republic of Tea. I never noticed that. Earl Grayer. It's Earl Grey tea. It's got black tea leaves and natural bergamot oil.
And I am drinking Republic of Tea's Rest, which is chamomile, lemon balm, and lavender tea. And it has organic chamomile, organic lemon balm, organic passion flower, organic licorice root, natural creamy French vanilla flavor, and organic lavender.
And thank you, as always, to the Republic of Tea for allowing us to continue to do what we love, and for our no more spoopy tea sippers out there. Brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review.
Every season is spoopy season.
Yeah, every day.
If you do it right.
Yeah, every day. No, every week is spoopy season on Horror Movie Tea.
Yes.
So
Don't forget to grab your mugs on our Teespring as well.
yes, the Please Don't Kill Me, and I'm gonna kill you at some point mug. They're twinsies.
Yes.
So for the summary.
So Ripley is back. They have finally found her during a deep space salvage operation, and she told them what happened. They didn't really believe her, but they sent people out there to check and didn't warn those people of what was supposed to be out there, and they lost contact with those people. So they asked her to go with a team of Marines, just as a consultant, to go out there to check in and see what happened. Once again, nobody listens to her, and most of them die.
Yep.
Before she finally makes it out of there with the sole survivor from those people that they sent to terraform the planet, which was a little girl.
Yeah.
Of about, 10?
8 or 10.
Somewhere around there? Yeah. So. Da-da-da-da. It's another movie of Ripley being a badass.
So for entertainment.
Gonna have to cut that out.
So the first Aliens movie, I remember I rated it a 7.75. This movie, I remember just telling me was better than the first movie. But I actually still prefer the first movie. But this movie is a very close second. So I was like, man, since I don't quite like it as much as the first movie, I'm not going to rate it the same. So the first movie I rated a 7.75, and this one I'm rating a 7.5. Like if I could rate in between those two, I would. But that'd be a little bit redonkulous, so I'm not.
Fair.
But this is a very solid movie. I will say it's like the first one, it feels more horror, while this one's a lot more action-y, but it's still really good with the tension. I will say, like with the first one, I remember when the alien comes out, it's like almost spooky. You're like, oh crap, like you're not expecting it to just come out there. What?
I'm sorry, that scene always makes me laugh.
Oh, why?
Because it looks like it's on a stick and it turns and then goes, eh.
Oh, I wasn't talking about the baby. I was talking about...
You said when it comes out of the chest.
Oh, no. When the baby... Well, not the baby. the big alien on the ship, like in the escape craft that Ripley's in when it comes. Yeah, not the baby. The baby's funny.
Okay.
Yeah, but I did like that they kind of expanded more of the lore.
Yes.
Of the xenomorphs, like having the queen, and I kind of liked that at the end of the movie, like it kind of changed their motivation. Where first they were wanting to use the humans to help with like their reproduction like cycle for them to be like a host, but then whenever Ripley like destroyed all the eggs, then the queen's like, oh no, I'm getting fucking revenge. Like, it's just, yeah. So in that regards, it's a really fun movie. Like, there is not a moment where you'll be bored. Like, it is constantly, and it really diverts your expectation too. Because like first, I was like, okay, they're not going to kill the girl off, but then they have the girl through a scene where you're like, oh crap, is she dead? Like, why would they kill off the little girl? And then it turns out that Ripley's able to like rescue her. And then whenever they're trying to get out and they tell the automaton like, don't you leave, let him leave. And then she comes out and she's like, he left. Like, she's like, God damn it.
Damn you, Bishop.
Yeah, but then Bishop's like, nuh-uh, it was just the platform was becoming unstable. So it's like, it's a really fun movie with like diverting your expectations. Like also, I was not expecting them to kill off the sergeant, especially so soon after the movie started. So it definitely, like, you expect a lot of the characters to die, but in the specific order and stuff, it kind of like keeps you guessing. But yeah, a really, really solid movie. As far as sequels go, a very solid sequel. Mm-hmm. They kept the cinematography, like, as far as like the cinematography, the coloring, like lots of red and stuff, like they keep that still feeling very the same. But instead of these people not showing what's going on and they're being attacked by an alien and it's kind of sneaking up on them, I think the reason why it feels more actiony is it's literally the military going into the nest.
That's fair.
And that it kind of creates a little bit different of a mood, but still like a really, really good solid movie. So recommend if you haven't seen it.
I don't know who wouldn't have seen it.
I didn't.
I know, but you're kind of a special case.
Yay, and special.
Anyway, so I give this movie an 8. This is easily my favorite Aliens movie in the whole franchise. It is one of the most solid sequels of any franchise, in my opinion. And it's just such a fun movie to watch with just iconic one-liners. Game over, man. It's game over. And then, get away from her, you bitch. I mean, how could you go wrong there? It's wonderful. Sigourney Weaver does, of course, an amazing job. She's a great actress. And she comes across as very organic in this role every time she plays it, but especially in this one.
Yeah.
They reveal in the very beginning of the movie, after they save her from deep space, that she has been gone much longer than she anticipated.
Yeah.
Something went wrong, and for whatever reason, she wasn't picked up like she should have been. So it's been 57 years.
I was gonna bring that up in the realism, like the emotional trauma that they show her go through, as well as like her being so sad that she couldn't make it to her daughter's 11th birthday.
And her daughter was already gone.
Yeah, like
gone and buried for 2 years before they even found her. That is just devastating. So the way that she portrays that is just perfect, and it makes sense later on that she bonds so quickly with Newt.
Yeah.
Her being about the same age as her daughter was when she left.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. I love that they left the cat in the safety of the apartment.
Jonesy.
Jonesy lived and was safe once again. So that was wonderful. I liked how they upped the ante with this one. In the previous movie, there wasn't a queen. It was just the one xenomorph. Mm-hmm. And that one xenomorph caused so much devastation.
Yeah.
In a day.
Yeah.
Like in 24 hours, the rest of her crew was wiped out.
And in this case, a hive wiped
Yes.
out a colony of people. I think it was
Yes.
it 60 or 70 people they're saying?
Something like
or
that.
families.
Families. It was 60 or 70 families.
So probably like over 100 people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is awful.
Yeah.
Like, they showed multiple kids. It was just heartbreaking. And that's one of the reasons why I think she was like, okay, yeah, we're going to wipe them out. Yes.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting how they upped the ante there, that it wasn't just one, that it is a serious problem. They bring the dark side of the corporation, I guess, back into it as well. Yeah. So it's not that they were acting necessarily through the android this time around. It was the actual business guy that went along and was trying to turn things in his favor for the company and basically to cover his own ass. So that was definitely an interesting part of the movie, and added definitely an extra level of urgency and frustration. At least for the characters, if not for you. I know it did for me. It was a little bit predictable that he acted like that, but it still brought more to the movie. So.
Well, they also make him a bit more... They start him off as a bit more likable of a character than the automaton in the first one. So him turning, it's a little bit... It's more, I guess, devastating is the best word.
I wouldn't necessarily say devastating, just more frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, he seemed to be an okay guy until they got there, and then everything was about money this, money that.
Yeah.
This is an asset. Like, everything is money. What about the whole planet of people that they just wiped out?
Yeah.
Like, there's one little girl left, and she has survived basically by sheer luck.
Yeah.
So, that was... that was something.
Yes, it was.
But the action in it is amazing. The effects were great.
Yeah, I mean, the practical effect, I mean...
Yes.
They still hold up so well.
They're awesome. Honestly, like...
Make them so juicy.
Yeah.
I feel like these aliens were a little bit extra juicy compared to the first one.
A little bit. But also, they didn't show quite as much of, like, the ships and the lights, so they didn't have to use, like, the Christmas lights in this one. So their effects for space were a little bit better, and they showed less of it, which I think definitely worked in their favor. They did have some definitely dated effects with, like, the electricity toward the end when everything was starting to explode, and some of the fire too. But otherwise, it was really well done and still holds up. So it dates it a little, but it doesn't detract from it as much as you would expect. Mm. So that's what I got for entertainment.
Well, so for realism, this one's a toughie.
It is very hard, especially since I have some serious nostalgia classes for this movie.
I think a 3 is pretty reasonable. And, like, first, I will say, as far as the realisticness goes, they don't go super crazy with the gore. Like, all of it seems really reasonable. The behavior of the xenomorphs seem completely reasonable, especially since it's, like, hive mind or hive behavior.
Protect the hive.
Yeah. So all of that makes complete sense. And I really like that they added that. But also, as we mentioned earlier, Ripley's trauma regarding the xenomorphs, or xenomorph, and her losing her daughter, like having the nightmares, and then her grieving over the daughter.
And her getting burned by the company and only really being able to work at like a shipyard.
Yeah, that, yeah. All of that, it feels real and raw. The biggest complaint or one of the biggest complaints is, as much as I liked the little girl character, how was she able to survive for so long? Especially, like, whenever Ripley goes into, like, her little cave area in the vents, it looks like she had been there for a while. And I would imagine, in the least, if she is able to sneak away from the xenomorphs, which, I mean, the xenomorphs seem to be pretty good at, like, locating, like, where the people are. So, but even if best case scenario, if she is able to get away from them, I would think she would have to move from place to place, and staying in that one area is probably a little bit extra dangerous because they're either, I don't know exactly how their senses work, but it's like if they have a sense of smell, her smell is really going to permeate and like show. At the minimum, they would probably, with as much time that they went through like the vents and all of the building, if they would probably realize that she's going in one particular direction and be like, oh, well, we should check it out. So that's one thing. And then I definitely can believe it taking the colonists so long to find the xenomorph ship, because the fact that it's an entire planet, like planets are absolutely ginormous. Mm-hmm. It's like, honestly, Earth is pretty small compared to some other planets out there. So I don't remember if they actually say how big the planet is.
I don't think they did. I know they settled in different coordinates, and they sent coordinates for them to go check it out.
Mm-hmm. But it's like, I would assume that the planet is probably bigger than Earth, because I feel like on the most part, Earth tends to be on the smaller side.
I'm not sure. I know it didn't take them too long to get from their base to the ship. But they were also focused on the machine to convert the atmosphere. So they hadn't really gotten to the point of exploring the area yet. They were trying to make it hospitable first.
Yeah.
So it's plausible that they didn't know that it was there, and it did, honestly, when they showed it, it did blend in fairly well.
Yeah.
But it's plausible that they didn't know it wasn't there at that point until they were given the coordinates.
Yeah. Yep.
Because they were so focused on their job.
Yeah.
And not dying.
Yep. But as far as like the less realistic, so there's a few of the military people that you're like, okay, you're a stereotypical movie military person. But I mean, really, besides that, it's pretty good. There's not, without like really nitpicking, there's nothing that stands out as like absurdly unrealistic.
I mean, at the risk of sounding almost like Darth Vader, I found their lack of backup ammo disturbing.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Like, they didn't have near enough
They
mags.
did appear to be a bit underprepared.
Yes.
Even though they were specifically going in
Yes.
for that purpose.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but. It didn't sound like Darth Vader.
I find your lack of ammo disturbing. Yeah, they were definitely woefully underprepared. This movie is hard for me to rate realism-wise. It is. And I'm really trying hard not to be so nostalgia glasses.
Even for realism?
Even for realism, because that's how much I love this movie.
You're like, it's all realistic.
I'm just
10 out of
so
10.
no, I'm just so immersed in it that my brain for once doesn't nitpick at everything.
It just is turned off for the realism.
Yeah. It's like, this is a fun movie and Ripley's a badass. Like, this is awesome. Save the little girl. I'm going to give it a 3.75.
Okay. That's good
Because it is. The xenomorphs and how they behave and all is consistent in this movie as it was in the last movie. They just expand on it, which I really appreciate. They even mentioned with the face grabbers that they tried to take it off of one of the colonists, and they were able to on one of them, but the guy died during that, which is consistent with what happened in the first movie. When they started to try to remove it, it started to try to kill him. So I like that they made a callback to that. And they also were able to contain a couple of them for study. And they used that for a really creepy scene later when Ripley and Newt were trying to sleep. And then they realized that, oh no, this is the problem. They've escaped. This is the problem.
I thought it was really cool with Bishop, like, dissecting the face hugger, like all the intricate details.
Yes, they did a really, really good job with that. I wish that they had made a bit more mention of, when he was dissecting it, of their blood is acid. Because that was a big thing. And that is why I counted off a little bit, because when they're shooting all the xenomorphs everywhere, they show some spatter of the blood acid destroying some things, but I feel like there would have been a lot more damage to them and the buildings that they were in and ships. Just saying, like, their blood is acid. Use that. Don't only use it when it's convenient.
Yeah. It's like on the facehugger one, I almost wonder if, since they do go through kind of like a metamorphosis, if when they're just a facehugger, if their blood is even acid yet.
It is.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, they showed that in the first one.
Oh.
They tried to cut one of the legs or finger kind of things, and it dripped through several layers of the ship. Remember, they were following it and trying to see how far down it went?
Yeah, now
Yeah.
I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was on the facehugger.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
plot hole.
But yeah, the Hudson holding the table there with his leg and shooting the facehugger, that's a hell of a lot of splatter.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem to get on him any. Which didn't really seem very realistic at all. And they're shooting a lot of the xenomorphs in close proximity, and again, it's a movie's got a movie moment, so they ignore it unless it's convenient for the characters to be burned.
Yeah, that's very true.
So, yeah. I like that they made mention of Bishop as an artificial person and how
make
the
it
other
PC.
well, no, how they mentioned that the other one were the other model was twitchy. And
Yeah.
how it implied that there were problems in general with those kinds of androids. And how he's supposed to be better. And he does show that he is very compassionate and really genuinely wants to help.
Yeah, I like that by the end, Ripley is on board with him and likes him.
She even puts what remains of him in one of the pods. So they can try to put him back together.
Yeah.
And I love how he makes a joke at the end too. Not bad for a human, because they
He's
were
over
just-
here like just his torso.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she had kind of been sniping at him almost the whole time, and
Yeah.
like not trusting him at all with any of it. So by the end, he's like, not bad for a human. Just had to get that last little jab, and it adds a little bit of levity to it. So it was really nice, and I like that. The little girl did fairly well.
She had a good scream. She had a
Definitely.
good set of
Oh, yeah,
lungs.
definitely. I feel like she could have done a little bit better, but for a kid actress, not bad, all things considered. We've seen way worse.
Yes.
For sure. And I do love how she actually refers to Ripley as mom.
At the very end.
At the very
it's
end. She calls
my
her
God.
mommy.
Yeah.
My heart.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart. So it's... And she just Ripley immediately responds. And picks her up.
Yeah.
Like, yep. Yep.
Yeah. It's very sweet. This movie, I feel like this movie is better at pulling at your heartstrings than
Yes.
the first one. The first one is just about like the horror and the death and the tensity of it. While this one, it's like the dynamic of the relationships, the one surviving person from the colony or kid from the colony, with someone who has already gone through it and knows and understands what she went through. So it definitely, this movie has a lot more depth
Definitely.
to it. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I really enjoy actually the added level of horror of she went there with trained Marines who were, if a little light on ammo, heavily armed. Heavily armed. Like, this should have been, for the most part, a cakewalk. But nobody listened to her.
Nope. At first not.
And even the Marines at first treated it like a joke. Like, they kept calling it a bug hunt. I feel like that was kind of a jab at Stormship Troopers. Just a little bit. But they kept treating it like it was no big deal. It's a walk in the park. It's just someone going a little... blowing things out of proportion, like it's not a big deal, we've got this kind of thing. And then they come up on these things and they're like, oh shit, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
We're in danger.
We're in danger. Yeah.
So it's really interesting to have that, like, even people who are trained for really bad situations like that and being able to take care of themselves are having a really, really difficult time with this and dying left and right.
Yeah.
So it just brings home how dangerous the xenomorphs are. And it makes it definitely a stronger creature feature in that regard.
Yep. For sure.
So that's what I got. I'll stop. Stop raving about it. I love this movie so much. If you haven't seen it, what the hell have you been doing? Go watch it.
Take Jess's advice and go watch it. It is good. But thank you for joining us today, and let us know what you thought of the movie. If you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
And if you'd like to support us monetarily, we have a Teespring and PayPal, or we have our affiliate link with Republic of Tea available. It does not affect the price of the tea. It just allows us to continue to do what we love. And you can find all of the sites mentioned linked below. But until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy. Bye!